Hey girl, how's your day going?
Pretty good. How was yours?
It was good, it was good. I just got this new top. Do you like it?
Oh, wow. Where'd you get it?
I actually got it from Shein. It was only $1 and they've been trying out like this new color. It's called like Shields Green. They used like a super special compound to make it. I heard it's like coming back from it was like a vintage color.
Oh God, girl. You know that has arsenic in it.
I actually don't know what you're talking about. I think you're just jealous. Like, I read on the Shein website that it's completely safe to wear and that like anyone who says arsenic is bad for you is just lying.
No, girl, trust me. Let me tell you about it.
Okay, I guess.
Copper arsenite, also known as Scheele's green, was discovered in 1775 by Carl Scheele and became widely used because of its bright green color. Its chemical formula is CuHASO3, and it contains copper 2 ions and arsenite ions, where arsenic is in the 3 plus oxidation state. The arsenite ion has a trigonal pyramidal shape due to a lone pair on arsenic, and the compound forms an ionic lattice with copper 2 plus ions. Because copper arsenite is poorly soluble in water, it forms a solid, which is why it works effectively as a pigment. Its green color comes from the D-D electron transitions in the copper 2 ion, which absorbs red light and reflects green. To synthesize it, arsenious oxide is first reacted with sodium carbonate and water to form sodium arsenite, which is soluble. Then this solution is added to copper 2 sulfate. A double displacement reaction occurs, producing insoluble copper arsenite as a bright green precipitate.
Like, I know most clothing dyes are made out of kind of like unusual color compounds, and so I feel like this is probably fine.
No, trust me, I'm gonna have my friend tell you about the history of it.
Okay, I guess.
Hey, this is Natasha. I hear you've got your hands on some Shields Green, yeah? You want to know the history behind it? Good. It goes back to the 18th century. Carl Scheele of Sweden was the first to manufacture it in his lab, which is why it's known as Scheele's Green. And it was a very striking, rich shade of green. Didn't fade over time. It was different than the green dyes that were already available, which were duller and would fade. Manufacturing companies would buy that pigment and put it in wallpaper like Jeffrey and Co. And they would also be used in paints and textiles. And it became even more popular when Wilhelm Sattler was a German paint manufacturer. He tweaked the composition a little bit to make it even brighter and fade less over time. But he had to add verdigris and arsenic to do this. But people generally didn't care.
I feel like it'll probably be fine. I don't think it's that bad.
Okay, well, I'm gonna call your sister so that she can try and convince you.
Okay,
Hey, it's me, your sister. To try and convince you not to wear that shirt, I'm going to be screen sharing and explaining some of the chemistry behind arsenic toxicity to you. Arsenic is a perfect poison because it impersonates the molecules that our bodies rely on the most in cellular energy metabolism. Arsenate is a moderate oxidizer, and its reduced form, arsenite, contains an arsenic oxyanion. First, we'll be focusing on arsenate. Arsenate can interrupt glycolysis because chemically it is a lookalike for inorganic phosphate. Typically in glycolysis, phosphate is used to convert glucose to glucose 6 phosphate. When arsenate is present, glucose is instead converted to glucose 6 arsenate. This compound is highly unstable and bypasses the ATP producing step and prevents net ATP gain. Arsenate also mimics phosphate and causes gluconate to incorrectly react with arsenate to form 6-arsenogluconate instead of forming 6-phosphogluconate. Unlike phosphate esters, 6-arsenogluconate is relatively unstable and is easily hydrolyzed, which further disrupts metabolic processes. Now we're going to look at arsenite. Its primary target is the PDH complex, which is the gateway between glycolysis and the citric acid cycle. Arsenite once again replaces phosphate and causes glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to be converted to 1-arseno-3-phosphoglycerate in the place of 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. This compound is highly unstable and spontaneously hydrolyzes into 3-phosphoglycerate and arsenate. This means that the cell loses the ability to produce ATP in this step. leading to decreased energy production and metabolic poisoning. PDH requires a cofactor called dihydrolipoamide with two thiol groups that pick up acetyl groups. Arsenite attacks those two neighboring thiols to form a stable bidentite adduct. This inactivates the PDH complex and stops the citric acid cycle.
I saw a TikTok saying it was fine to wear this, so I don't really know if all of like mechanisms and stuff that she just explained to me makes sense. Like, can you even give me an example of something bad happening when someone wore this color? It just sounds like you guys are overreacting.
Yeah, I can give you an example, and my friend can too. During the 19th century, many wallpapers were colored using copper arsenite pigments. While these bright green designs were fashionable, they also introduced serious health risks. One proposed mechanism of exposure was simple dust inhalation. As wallpaper aged and began to flake, tiny arsenic-containing particles could be released into the air. Over time, inhaling this dust could lead to chronic arsenic poisoning. Another major concern involved toxic gas formation. In damp environments, mold could grow on arsenic-containing wallpaper. Certain fungi were able to metabolize arsenic compounds and release volatile arsenic gases, such as arsine. These gases are highly toxic and could accumulate in poorly ventilated rooms. This issue has even been linked to the death of Napoleon Bonaparte. After his death in exile on St. Helena, elevated arsenic levels were found in his hair. Some historians suggest that moldy green wallpaper may have contributed to his exposure, although the exact cause of his death remains to be debated.
Historians think that wallpaper poisoning might have actually killed Napoleon. Yeah, it was thought it was cancer in his stomach, but the island that he was on, it had a damp environment, so that would promote mold growth. And also, arsenic is carcinogenic in itself. One of the pathways it works through is by leading to oxidative stress, which is heavily implicated in carcinogenesis. It can do this by targeting mitochondria, targeting enzymes like NADPH oxidase in there, which will throw off the oxygen production of the mitochondria. And this would lead to ROS species being produced, which would form oxidative DNA damage. And this would lead to genotoxicity from the accumulated DNA damage and eventually cancer.
Are there any other options that I have since you guys are saying I can't even wear this?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few. I can give you some examples.
Okay.
After Scheele's green, a more durable pigment called Paris green became widely used. Chemically known as copper acetoarsenite, it still contains arsenic, so it was highly toxic. However, it was brighter and more chemically stable than earlier pigments, making it less likely to degrade quickly or release toxic gases. Because of this, it was used in paints, wallpapers, and even as an insecticide. Eventually, safer alternatives were developed. One major replacement was Viridian green, which is a hydrated chromium 3 oxide. Unlike Paris green, Viridian contains no arsenic, making it far less toxic. Although it was initially expensive to produce, it became safer and a more stable replacement for arsenic-based green pigments.
I guess maybe I won't wear this like color anymore, but could you tell me really quick if there are like any other uses for this chemical? It sounds like it has a really like a deep backstory. So did they just get rid of it or is it used for anything else now?
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll have your sister tell you about it.
Okay.
The pigment actually was transitioned into an insecticide, but this transition didn't happen overnight. It took a whistleblower to turn the tide. Robert Clark Kedzie was a Michigan chemist, and in 1874 he published Shadows from the Walls of Death. This was a book that contained hundreds of actual arsenic-laden wallpaper samples, and it was sent to libraries all over the US. But even as the truth of arsenic was coming to light, people still refused to give up the aesthetic and still wore dresses and used wallpaper containing the pigment. But in general, it tapered off, and when you can't sell one product, what do? You pivot. It was then used as one of the first insecticides and was used to try and eradicate the Colorado potato beetle population and was used by spraying it all over the fields.
Honestly, that's crazy that I'm wearing this pigment and it was used as an insecticide. Now that you guys mention it, actually, I'm feeling a little lightheaded.
Whatever, we told you to stop wearing it.